Hey, this is Rick. I just want to do a quick 5-minute review of this early issue of Amazing Spider-Man 217. It's just a kind of a funny but a sweet story. It's an early John Romita Jr. book. Back when I really enjoyed his art. Actually, I liked his old art a little better than his new stuff. He is a good storyteller, but I appreciated his less angular artwork back then. It's a continuation of Amazing Spider-Man 217, which I'll do a quick review of cleaning of before I do the 218 later. But it's the end of this last issue. Hydra Man and Sandman become one being. They're sort of fused like a firestorm, maybe, after they fall into a river together, and they're sort of becoming a single person. They both love the same woman named Sadie. So here we go. So Peter starts. This mud creature is. We were continuing from the last episode. They're going to fight for the first time. Peter has enough time. I don't know why this thing sits here and watches him web his camera, but it does. Peter's a little worried he's going to kill it by smashing the head with a barrel. Doesn't even seem to notice and just kind of paps him away. And he's seeing stars and the thing gets away. And then he goes and tries to sell the pictures to Jonah, who says, What is this, globs of Play-Doh? You have the nerve to tell me the cockamamie story about a monster? Lame, Parker, real lame. So he doesn't believe him. Peter's mad. And here's something you don't see a lot anymore. It's Peter changing clothes while he's stuck to the side of a building. That used to happen a lot more. Not knowing where his clothes ended up. I think he used to stash them on top of buildings, but used to see him wall crawling a lot more. You don't see a lot of Peter wall crawling these days. But he decides he's going to go look for this critter, and he thinks that since they both love this woman named Sadie, which somehow Peter knows where she lives, he says, if that creature hurts anyone, I'll never forgive myself. Both of its parts seem to be infatuated with Sadie Frickett, which proves there's no accounting for taste. Peter, dude, you're mean. In Sadie's place as well, I'll find the action. And so she's up there complaining about the weather and the news. She's just not a real happy person. Thing smashes through the walls and grabs her. But she says, I feel like it ain't going to hurt me. He goes, okay, besides, punching would only get my fist soggy. Takes off, the police are waiting, and I guess somehow they capture it. And then here we go, good old Matt Murdock. He says, so Your Honor, we contend that although the persons known as Sandman and Hydra Man were wanted criminals, since they melded together, they constitute a new individual. That individual is wrong, innocent. Like, I can't believe any judge fell for that. He said, oh, okay, well, all right, we'll let him go. So they run off with Sadie and Peter's fine. It says, a week passes during which our hero finds himself engaged with the like of Jack-o'-lantern and Man-Killer. See, it's Spectacular Spider-Man 56 and Marvel Team Up 107. Here's 56. There's Jack-o'-lantern. It's actually a really good story. And the one after this, it connects to 57 with Killer Shrike and Jonah Jameson. It's a good story. And then we have this one. Actually, it says Man-Killer. It's this woman that likes to kill men, I guess. And it's She-Hulk's, one of She-Hulk's villains. They're both good issues. I mean, I recommend reading them. They're just fun stories. I'm going to clean and press both of them, but they're not worth anything, maybe $2. But they're fun stories to read. I highly recommend. They're both all from July of 1981. I was 10. So he runs into Steve Hopkins, who's a friend of his from Empire State University that we saw in probably like 20 or 30 issues and then just vaporized one time and we just never saw him again. Asking about whether Peter's dating Deb Whitman still. And he's like, oh, maybe he wants to go out with Deb. But, of course, the old Parker luck is that she's got a date with Biff Rifkin here. He says, I just can't keep away, doll girl. I managed to score tickets to Evita, but I wanted to consult with you about dinner reservations. Shall we tuddle along? And then she just doesn't even say goodbye to Peter and just like blazes off. And Peter says, does that preppy reject set your teeth on edge the way he sets mine? And then Steve accuses him of being jealous, which, of course, he is. But Biff Rifkin was actually not a bad guy. He's the person who would later tell Peter that he was high school friends with Deb and that she was in a previous marriage that was an abusive relationship and she had mental health problems. And he would confide into Peter about that. So he's a good guy, ultimately. Spidey swings off and finds the sign here that Sadie has started a kind of a show to show off this monster. I guess people in New York don't see enough monsters. They want to stop and pay to see one. And Jonah sends him up there, and no surprise, there's some showgirls chained to the wall, a cape on, torn pants, giving off some serious King Kong vibes. And there's these guys in there dumping water and sand on him, keep him fed, I guess. Even bigger King Kong vibes when, they got Sadie. He's the only one that can keep this thing mellowed out, of course. And then here's Peter. And she sees a friend of hers, Travis, and she runs up and gives him a kiss. Critter gets mad. Obviously, there's no surprise there. Tears its belt off. Breaks through the crowd. Escapes. It's exactly like every King Kong movie you've seen from the 30s to the 70s to 2005, whatever it was, Jack Black. And Peter doesn't want innocent people to get slaughtered. Goes and changes out of his leisure suit. Comes back as Spidey. And these guys come in with these Ghostbuster packs. And this is before Ghostbusters. It says, the audience spills out the side doors and a SWAT team bursts in the back. Looks like the captain was right when he figured that glob might flip. And feed him some gas and play nice. So they have this gas that was developed in Vietnam, I think. He says, are you going to really zap that runway mud pie? We ain't invited to a policeman's ball, Pally. Look, it's ripping free of the fire curtain. That sucker's dangerous. Well, so they gas it, and then he gets away holding the girl. Of course, he climbed the side of the building with serious King Kong vibes. And Peter runs up to save her. And it says, once again, the plea goes unheard. Deadly fumes blanket the monster and its terrible burden. They have no effect on human beings, luckily. They cause the mud monster to sway. That's some pretty fast research to get that stuff developed in a week and have it all canisters for the cops to spray in. This guy. But I guess there's already developed, they said, in the war in Vietnam. I'm not sure what they were spraying it on. So anyway, the thing crumbles and falls. Peter webs it up. And then she's really upset that they're shoveling the creature into I guess the police department has its own trash bins. They're just shoveling it in there. And so she's crying, and this guy says, don't worry, we're covered by insurance. Don't worry about it. And she goes, don't worry, I don't want insurance. My baby's dead. So it's kind of sad, right? And it's just, it's written pretty well. Even here, read here, it says, then the moisture binding the creature's tissues together is sucked into the night by the gas, and those tissues crumble and part. See, it's kind of beautiful writing. And Denny O'Neil does a good job even when he's handed a stinker of a story like this one. And then it's pretty sad. And Peter, he says, it is kind of like King Kong. And I really like this Romita art. I like his economy with little backgrounds where it doesn't matter. And he's always done water very well. I like this sort of dripping water effect that he has even here. And he was obviously a lot younger then, but you can see it even in the rain. Like he's good at drawing that, and I really appreciate it. The story's not great, but it's fun. It's written well. It's the Monster of the Week story at the time. It fits early 1981 really well, and it pushes some of the character development forward. So it's kind of fun, and I will clean and press a Mark Jeweller's version of the book for your entertainment pleasure after this. I hope you enjoyed this little mini review. So even though I did clean and press Amazing Spider-Man 217, I lost a lot of the digital video, so I just want to show some quick photos of it. So here's a photo of the bottom left front corner. Had a water stain here, and I just removed that quickly. This was done with the Immaculate and a little bit of water. I don't think I used any peroxide on that. In my notes, I didn't show any peroxide, just water. Immaculate, you can see where it was a little. I didn't clean it in eraser. You can see that it's pretty dirty a lot of places, but just the goal was just to get rid of that little stain, that water stain that was on this corner. So that was just Immaculate, and I put a little bit of water like right along this edge with a Q-tip, and that took care of that. Let's see what else I have. I have upper right corner before and after. So here's the upper right corner, similar stuff. Not much cleaning. You can see how much dirt is left on here. I didn't use an eraser or anything, just Immaculate stuff. And then we have upper right rear, 217 rear, upper right. We have upper left front. So here's the price box. Similar. You can see it's just a little bit of water and Immaculate, no erasing and cleaning. Obviously, it would have come a lot cleaner if I used an eraser or the Immacuclean. It would have come off of there a lot better. Upper right. So here's the upper right corner, and similar. This didn't come out very well here, this black spot. So that's too bad. And is that it? I think that's all of the before and after. Here's a picture of the book I have afterwards. That's the 217. So not much here, just a little bit of examples for you to see. So I took the pictures, I might as well share them, I guess. Right, so Nolan and I are going to press this number 218 of Amazing Spider-Man. We have a couple copies of the book. This one is a Mark Jeweler insert, so we're going to show how to do Mark Jeweler pressing, which we've shown a video before, which involved removing the glue, but in this case we're going to leave it on there. But we have a couple of spots that we really want to look at, which is right here. We have some dents in the cover there and there, and we'll use the Immacuball and the tacking iron to really get those spots out. And then we will make sure that we press this cover. There's a couple of spine ticks over here too that we want to make sure that we get out of there. Right here, there's like a little fingerprint crease. There's lots of creases in this book. So we're going to go ahead and press it. All right, so we're just going to use the Immacuball at first. We may have to come back with a tacking iron or a dotting tool later, but just to help out the pressing, we're going to put a piece of silicone paper. I'm just going to figure eight this Immacuclean. This allows the ball to roll in this socket, and we're just going to help make it so that the ball loosens up the paper so that it presses easier. And we had a few spots up here too. So I'm going to go over here and do some of these areas and just roll up and down the spine. I'm kind of off the edge of the spine a little bit, and it just helps to get the tacks out by pushing this ball just up and down the edges of the spine here. It's not going to do it completely. We'll probably have to come back with the tacking iron, but this will help. All right, now we're going to build our sandwich. And let's see, I'm a little bit more here. I think I could do a little more work on that spot. I'm going to get on there and get in there. Really help get that out. All right, so the first thing we're going to do is to go to the Mark Jeweler insert. And in previous videos, I've removed this glue because it's better just to take some rubbing alcohol and take that off, I think, so you don't have the glue to worry about. But in this case, someone asked me to do this without it, so I'm going to take this silicone paper that I use a thicker material, and the shiny side goes down. I'll put that right here. This book, let's see, does it need to be cleaned? There's a stain on the back here, so you know what, while we're here, let's clean the back off. Let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to go ahead and take some Immacuclean and wipe the back off of this book. This wasn't going to be a cleaning video, but now that I see that it needs some cleaning, I'm going to go ahead and do that. I'm going to take some Immacuclean here, put this on it, and I'm going to take this. See this big stain right here? Can you see that, Nolan? Show them that. Okay, and then I'm just going to wipe this. I don't know if that'll take this off or remove it or not. It'll at least lessen it. And then I'm going to clean this book. There we go. Cleaning that junk off of there. I don't know that we'll get that stain off. It might take a little more work than what we're willing to do today to this book. We may have to come back and revisit, but I'm sure that some of this dirt will come off. And it's coming off, so we'll get a lot of this off here. That, it looked like a coffee stain or something, so we may have to do a little more work. We may have to remove the cover. And there, see the dirt we're getting off of there, Nolan? Can you see it?
Yes.
It's brown stuff, so we'll get that. It honestly doesn't look that much cleaner, but I can see a lot of dirt lifting, so we'll give it some time to come off. I'll do the yellow parts now last. I don't want to do them very much, so I do them at the very end, so I keep track of how much I've cleaned it. That's not good. I put a wrinkle. All right, so I'm going to now take a little bit of water and just a Kim wipe just to make sure there's no residue with the Immacuclean left over. We're going to wipe this Often we put a wrinkle in there accidentally, so we'll try to get that back out. Or we will get it out. And we're going to let this dry to the touch. Just about 5 or 10 minutes, and then we will, in the meantime, we'll finish assembling our sandwich, which is going to be to put a couple of chamfer boards in the book. We're going to put one in the back. So I will put one chamfer board in the back. I'm going to put it inside the last page of the comic here, so we don't keep it getting dirty from the inside cover, which is usually very dirty. And then I'm going to put one in the first page of this book here. I will find a new one. I want a new chamfer board right in here. And then we'll let that dry. And this isn't even a chamfer board. We'll put a chamfer board in here. We will put one right here, and I will press this book with a couple of sheets of the silicone release paper. We'll put one underneath it, underneath the book like this. And we have this, there's like a sort of a Sharpie marker or some kind of a stain up there that we might try to get off later as well. And then we'll put another piece of silicone release paper on top of the book like this. This will be our sandwich. And we'll wait a few minutes and then we'll press it. So we have our aluminum board on the bottom. There's a Teflon sheet here, which isn't really necessary, but I just have it just because of habits. And then I'm going to put my sandwich here. It's preheated to 165 on the bottom. Then I'm going to take another board on top and set it here very carefully. Then I'm going to press this book into place right here. It's too tight. I want to go looser than that. A little looser. Right. A little tighter. There. And then we wait 600 seconds and then we'll turn it off. And this is just me taking it off of here, so I'll just lift this up. And then I will take the book. Let's show here. This is where the, go down here. This is where the dent was at. I'll put the light on it, where that big dent we had before was. And there was a little dent right down here too. There. Right there. There was a dent. And let's look over here. There were some spine ticks on this edge right here. All right, and we don't see those anywhere. Even in this area, there's a little spot right here we could probably take out still. But otherwise, it looks pretty good. So let's get back and just do a whole view of the whole book. That will show the back, and then start up here, show this top part. We have that stain there still. We have this area here. And you can see that it's still dirty, but it's cleaner than it was. And we'll go back to this part and show that the book looks pretty good now. I think we might go back and take this little tiny spot out of his head right there. We can get that out, and then we'll be done. All right. I'll talk a little bit about some before and after pictures. Of course, the light wasn't as good because it was brighter at one time than it was during the other, but you can see here that some of these little dents and creases are out without, didn't use a dotting tool, didn't have to use a tacking iron, just used regular old Immacuball in a figure 8 with a chamfer board, and it's not perfect, it's not all the way out, but it's most of the way out. So you can tell that if we did some more work that we would definitely get that out. Let's look up in the upper left-hand corner. We can see here that the this little area where the spine ticks were, I mean, look, I didn't do anything else but this little ball and press it, and it's mostly gone. I mean, they're not 100% gone, but the level of effort that it takes is a lot less, and it looks pretty good. So you can tell that we can do a lot better. I didn't take any before pictures of the back. It was really dirty, but maybe in the video you can tell it came quite a bit cleaner. It looks nice. Now, I mean, it's not perfect, of course, but if it's perfect, you stand a better chance, I think, of getting a purple label. So if it's just cleaner, but not like obviously cleaned, I think that's the important thing here, is to make it better, but not necessarily perfect. So anyway, you can take that from it what you will. I invited Nolan Morgan here to participate with me on the review of this book. So Nolan, who helped me to clean and press this, what do you think, Nolan, looking at this book? How does it look afterwards?
I think it looks a lot better.
Yeah, it looks great. See those spots where those dents were at?
Yeah, it's a lot less. Not like nothing, but it's there, but it's a lot less.
Yeah, it looks better. I think we did a good job, right?
Yeah, definitely did a good job.
Yeah, so that's good. So Nolan's my little partner. We better write Mark Jeweler on here. We'll forget it was a Mark Jeweler book.
Oh yeah,
in the pile of them all, we'll forget which one is which. But why don't you? So what you've been working on, Nolan? Tell them what you're doing at school right now.
I'm doing a digital manufacturing class actually, which just happens to have you use Autodesk, which is a drawing program. You can draw things with it, specifically 3D things.
And you have a laser, and a 3D printer.
Yeah, a laser and a 3D printer, and
right.
We made this with all the skills.
Well, what is it? What is this?
Oh yeah, it's a comic book holder. It holds comic books and it filters out UV light in the process.
Right. So what are some features? So you drew it so that you just basically are sandwiching a board in there. And we're working at, we don't know what to do next. We're thinking about putting a frame around the outside. Like so many people have done this that we don't need to be special anyway. We're just having fun doing our own.
Yeah, pretty much.
It's pressed in there now this way, but we're thinking about putting some sides around it to keep, gases, because it is open on the sides. We maybe put a little mat around the outside of it. It screws in with bolts. It couldn't be simpler. But tell us some features about the material selection you did, son. I really want to...
All right. It's made from museum quality, non-glare, abrasion-resistant acrylic, and it filters out a lot of harmful UV light, 98%.
Yeah, so it's really good plastic that we're using. It's not quite as clear on the front as it is on the back, and we'll do a little B-roll here for you to show about it. But Nolan, we're working on improvements. He's learning, he's laser cutting, he's helping out the comic book community, right, son?
Yeah.
I couldn't be more proud of my boy here who's been doing this for... Gosh, probably most a third of your life now, right?
Oh, yeah. Now I think about it.
Yeah, so he's working on it. And what is this book, by the way?
Let me see.
It's from Broadway Comics.
Oh, yeah.
It's the ill-fated company started by Jim Shooter, who used to be the editor-in-chief at Marvel. They had some great books, honestly. This is called Fatale, which was like their kind of Wonder Woman character. Ooh. I really liked the stories. There was a Starseed. There was... maybe that was something else. Anyway, there were a few characters in there that were really good. It was really well written. The comic book company didn't last very long, but the books were high quality, well written, great stories, and I enjoyed it. And so we just had this one around. So we decided to just happened to be the nearest comic book when we were making this. And so there's like you can see on the back too. You can have the back is quite clear. We're not doing UV resistant on the back mostly to save copy. You can see how much more reflective that is. The front is also reflective. It's not reflective. It's just less, and it has anti-marring, anti-scratching, and the UV filtering characteristics. So we wanted to share Nolan's success there. If you got any tips and tricks, things you'd like to see for Nolan to make some more stuff, would it be bigger? One of the things we thought of was making this top section a lot bigger, and then laser etching the name, the title, the year and stuff, so it looks a little nicer.
That would be cool
up there. But then it's only for that one book, right? We can do that too. But anyway, that's what we're doing, and we had some fun with it, and we wanted to share it with you, right, Nolan?
Yeah.
All right, thanks, brother.
Yeah.
Thanks, son. That's it for us. The Morgan boys are out, right, Nolan?
Yeah.
Right, take care and have a happy New Year, everybody. Take care. Bye-bye.
Yeah, Happy New Year. I forgot.
Yeah, right. It is right here. Bye.
Bye-bye.